find the kids? George?
Hello, parrot lovers. My name is Marlene McCohen, and this is my daddy, George. Yes, he is back. We are here with Mango, the conure, and we're going to tell you today how to convince your parents to let you get a bird, right? And I've been getting so many questions on this video that I thought, who better to do this video with than my dad that I had to convince to let me get a bird? Because when I was a kid and I asked him, he said no. Right, Dad? Why did you say no?
Well, the reason I said no, because I didn't know whether you can take care of it. If you're going on vacations, who's going to take care of the bird? I didn't think that you could be responsible for it. Probably we were worried that you might pass on the responsibility to us.
That's what you really were worried about?
Yeah, well, you gotta feed it, you gotta clean up, make sure that everybody's at home. If you're going away, somebody has to babysit it. And then also you gotta be careful in case you don't harm it.
You know what you told me when I asked you if I could get a bird? I remember I was 7 years old. You said we cannot cage creatures, and you didn't want a pet that would be in a cage, and you were totally against that.
I did. You know, the whole idea of them being caged, like they've been imprisoned and they can't enjoy their wings, they can't fly, and basically they're totally dependent on you. So really you've taken away their freedom just for your own selfishness.
I came back at you, right? And I said, I know for a fact, because I had just met a bird, that I can play with the bird and hang out with the bird and treat the bird just like a regular cat or dog. And what did you say to that?
Well, I still wasn't convinced, but we ended up going to one of our friends and he had a bird. I think either your mother or you spoke to him, and then he approached me and he sort of introduced me to a bird. It was a cockatiel and he brought it out of the cage. The cage was open, and then he showed how he's kissing it and how he's playing with it. Then I didn't see any harm in it, so he sort of convinced me to get you a bird.
Wow, that's really funny, because I know I can't imagine that Mom was on that ploy, and I didn't tell him about it, so I don't know, because from what I remember, you told me don't tell Mom. Even after we got the bird and had the bird in the car, you were like, don't tell Mom, I'm gonna go in first. You remember?
Right, but well, you see, I didn't know whether it was Mom or it was you or somebody else, but somehow Jerry showed me the bird and I didn't know who conspired it or who was behind it, so I was suspicious it was your mother, but probably wasn't.
They must have got word. Probably when I want something, I let everybody know.
Right.
And I didn't know that maybe I had some extra help that I didn't know I was getting.
Yeah, you were very persistent. You kept trying and bugging, and that kind of a bugging that you say, okay, how can I get rid of it? And once you have no choice but to give in, and then you know,
the bird.
Yeah, we got the bird. I gotta say something else to the parents. A child usually is not responsible. He gets everything, so he thinks that everything is coming to him, and they really become selfish. But by getting them an animal or a bird or a pet, that makes them responsible. Ask the child, are you gonna feed it? Are you gonna take care of it? You're not gonna go on holiday? That actually gives them a sense of responsibility and some kind of a commitment to another animal. And once they go through that, it actually forces them to grow up, and they'll understand that, okay, there is a creature just like themselves, that like the parents took care of the child, he has to do the same. So I think that in the environment that we are, since we are not in the farms, we're not close to the animals, and we're getting further away, bringing a pet at home and introducing it to your kids, especially if the kids wants the pet, then it means he's a responsible child and he is committed. So I think the issue of responsibility should be the major focus here. And then if it's an agreement in between them that he's going to have the full responsibility, I'm sure the parents will enjoy the benefits and the pleasures that the pets give to us, and it doesn't become a burden just on one side.
I was going to say something like that. I was going to say that, like, when I wanted a bird, and for you kids that want a bird, the first thing thing I would show is responsibility when I want to get my way. When my parents present me with the cons, I already have answers for them. Dad calls me, what do you call me? What do you call me? You always call me like some master dealer or...
Yeah, she's a master of a negotiator. So basically what she does, she comes up and she knows my weak points, or she knows the weak point of the family that might need something. So she would come up and say, okay, do you know what, if I solve that problem, would you let me have a pet? The parents admire, because the whole idea of life is give and take in order to get to where you want. And then also it's a commitment, and a commitment is a big thing. And I think that if a child learns early commitment to a bird or to a pet, then he can always in future commit to their studies, commit to a job, and commit to marriage and children. And once they learn to commit, they become a responsible person, and they have early adulthood, which is quite beneficial. I mean, if you're going to go back not many years, farmers' children, they were always committed. They knew that they're born in that environment, and they have to feed, and they have to clean, and they had many chores to do. That was a commitment, and also it was a power earning for the family, and it was a total necessity. It was not a question of whether they should or not. It was a must.
That's funny, because I'm here to like help these kids find great ways to convince their parents. And then you're like, anyway, parents, let me tell you why you gotta get a bird. Right? Yeah. You really have a point that, like, I felt like sort of like a mom to these pets ever since I was a kid already, you know? Like, I have like these instincts to take care of things, right, Dad?
Yeah, it does. It does create some kind of a motherly instinct. Really, it's an early growth that can benefit the child tremendously. Like I said before, commitment is the hardest thing in life to do. Once they learn to commit, I think that's going to be part of their genetic and be successful. Many times hard time comes and people want to give up and just run away. The whole idea starts with promising yourself. Once you promise yourself, you commit to yourself, then obviously the benefit comes to yourself in the future by just how you handle the situation.
And so I think, like, for you kids out there that want a bird, if you just listen to what my dad said and you really think about it for yourself, can you commit to something? Can you be responsible for something? Can you give up things to take care of your pet, to be with your pet? I mean, are you planning on being out all day with your friends after school and never being able to hang with your bird? That's a terrible thing for a bird. So if you are prepared with these arguments, you can show that you're responsible, that you're educated, and that's something that you can look up nowadays. You can look up the pros and cons of having a bird, and you can be prepared. Like, a lot of that stuff wasn't available when I was a kid, so I went to the library and got out books because it's what I really wanted. But here's one thing that I always did when I wanted something that my parents said no to, and it almost always worked. I offered to pay for it myself. Now, how does like a 7-year-old have money? Very simple. Like my dad was explaining, the master negotiator, the weak point. My mom is a clean freak, and I'm especially talented at being OCD and cleaning up. I am. So then I'd be like, Mom, say I did 10 chores, cleaned my bedroom and cleaned your room and organized the whole pantry. Can you give me $5 or $10 and I'll do as much as I can to make up the $100, or I'd go babysit. And that would really show that it's what I wanted. I remember I spent all my babysitting money on a new cage for my bird Dooley. A few years after I got him, I wanted him to have a new cage, and Mom basically took my babysitting money and went out and got him a really nice cage with it, and I had no problem with that because it's what I wanted. Right, Dad?
Let's put it this way. First of all, if you want to approach your parents, this is the plan that you do. If you have brothers and sisters, all of you get together. When all of you going in front of your parents and all of you are excited about it, the parents can't sort of say no. Say, we would like to put a bird, we would probably buy it, we'll put our money, we'll get the money from the chores that we're going to do. We're going to clean up, take care of the bird. We'll make sure that there is no responsibility to the parents. Usually parents, when they think that they don't have to be responsible for that, then they sort of ease up. And then if you can bring the other person that will be committing himself that on your absence is going to take care of that. That will help a lot. So you got to give them an approach like you say, okay, you know what? There's no cost to you. There is no responsibility to you. There is no cleanup from you. And then they'll be happy that, first of all, how you approached them, how you calculated it, and how you managed to take away all the no's, so they have no choice but to say yes. If supposedly they say no, then you go back between the family and find out a new strategy to come back to them and sort of be stronger, and how to eliminate that second no and hopefully turn it to yes.
As we learned from this, Dad admires master negotiations. Right, Dad?
Yes, absolutely. Well, anybody in life, as long as they feel like they have no responsibilities, they just take it on because they got nothing to lose. But don't forget that pet has become part of the family.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I feel like it's very important when you buy a parrot to go with somebody that has a parrot to buy one. There's so many different parrots that match different personalities. I would say that for me, I'm an African gray person, whereas someone else might be a cockatoo person, but an African gray person jumping into a cockatoo might be a little overwhelming. You know, there's just different personalities that match up with different people. Just like who's more destructive, who's louder, or do you live in an apartment? If it's your first time bird and you need a really super friendly bird, like someone can go with you and know right away, like if this is going to be a good bird. And I think that helps too.
Also, if you have nobody to go with you, the best thing to do is just go for the small birds, friendly ones, and make sure they're babies. So even if you can hand feed them, because if they open their eyes and they only see you, that's the first friendship they got. They grow in your own hands and they're gonna get attached to you, and when you hand it to your brothers and sisters, they grow with the family because that pet knows nobody else.
And you could visit the bird while it's a baby. You don't have to be the hand feeder. And with that being said, of course, we support adopting parrots. But if you are a first-time parrot owner, it may be easier to go with a baby. But if you've done your research, you never know. Like, all of our birds are rescues. And but of course, I did have my experience with a baby parrot the first time. So a baby cockatiel, which is an amazing, amazing, amazing first bird. Mango is actually a first bird for his owners. Look at that. Look how sweet Mango is. I'm obsessed. So I think, to recap, these are the things: responsibility,
commitment, and then sense of approach to your parents. Do your negotiation, and then take away as much responsibility as you can from them. So therefore, they're not committed on your behalf. And then if you're approaching them, all the family, you know, the brothers and sisters.
Oh, unity.
Unity is very important. So eliminate all the burdens and
introduce your parents to a parrot if you can, or parrot videos, because that's how you fell in love. I don't think you could have come home without a bird after meeting that cockatiel, because you're such an animal lover, and just to see like the freedom that the bird could have, I think that changed your mind too.
But don't forget, there is also another thing, that a lot of endangered species are out there, and if we get to learn all these pets and all these animals, we can contribute in saving them if they are mistreated, or sometimes human beings go out there for profit and they want to take all the earth's resources and they don't care about the environment or destroying their neighborhood. So basically, by us approaching them, learning them, seeing their behavior, what they need, what they don't need, then we can sort of live in harmony with the animals. God has created beautiful souls, you know, that we communicate with.
Yeah, and I honestly never would have known as much as I know about birds. It's very possible that I wouldn't have even been interested in birds if I wasn't introduced to that cockatiel that day. Because as far as I knew, they were like the most uninteresting pets. I had no idea that they were so interesting and mischievous.
And here you are, you see? Plenty of entertainment.
Plenty of entertainment. So I think that sums it up. That is how you can get your parents to get you a bird. I hope this has helped. But what's even better, what I didn't expect, is for Dad to flat out speak to your parents. So you could show this video to your parents, share it with your parents, and say, hey, check it out. This is a dad who didn't want a bird, got a bird for his daughter, and look at her now. No, you could say, and look at how he feels that it made his kids responsible, happy, committed, able to finish things. And and so on, right?
And then also don't forget what she has learned in the past many, many years since she was a young girl. Now she can pass it on to you. So this information are very important, very valuable, and it can pass on to the next generation. So we can be with animals in harmony instead of harming them, just helping them.
Exactly. So that is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. We love new subscribers. Share this video, like this video. Follow me on Instagram at Marlene McCohen to see me and my birds and my dad and my real life all day long. And also join Parrot Station on Facebook. That's our Facebook page where you can become a member and I will get to see and meet all your birds. So come on and introduce yourself and have a lovely day. And by the way, we make new videos every single week. So hope to see you. Bye.
Bye.